Hey everyone, and welcome to my Superliminal Challenge Mode Speedrun tutorial. I'm Samwise, and today I'll be showing you how to complete each challenge quickly and efficiently, while also avoiding using any glitches except for Whitespace. Whether you're just looking to get into the category or stuck in a challenge, this guide will show you tips and tricks to help you get started. The run I'll be talking over is the first ever no reset run of challenge mode, where I never reset checkpoint for failing a challenge. The category has the warpless rules, which means I'm actually missing some glitched strategies to make the run faster. However, I'm personally more comfortable with glitchless runs and was more worried about consistency than speed. If you want to see the current world record for challenge mode, I've linked it in the description. Now let's dive right in. Okay, we're going to start as we usually do, going through the door in Induction and starting the timer. Make sure this is 0 out of 9 in the top right, just so you know that you've reset your challenges. So we're going to start by grabbing that top block, moving it over to the left, grabbing this chessboard and placing it as a ramp. So we're actually going to keep careful watch for this cube and this cube, that we don't accidentally place it in front and it falls flat. Thankfully, if you mess up this early, it's super easy to reset without even worrying about finishing a challenge. Here we're just going to use our normal glitchless strategy, placing the cube down, and grabbing it immediately. For this room, this is tough. This is one of the ones they changed for challenge mode. So we're gonna get close to this little window here to grab this pawn, and then get somewhat far away from this window, standing about in the middle of the room, and trying to place it so that the pawn is just on the edge of this kind of clear cube here, and it'll fall onto the button. Here we'll just do a basic drop resize. This ledge grab's pretty lenient, so you can be a little more adventurous with that cheese. Here we're going to pivot right inside the door to grab this plank at the bottom because it sticks out just a little bit. Rotate it so it's easier to fit into the little button. We go into this corner and you can barely grab the cube. We're not going to rotate it because it's actually already perfectly parallel with this window. So if you place it so that it's just inside this clearance, right kind of in the center of this cracked window, you can see that I've got space on top for it to fall through, and there you go. Here we'll stop just so we don't have to worry about momentum. I'm just inside the door and I place it right at this rafter here on the left. If you keep moving, it's more likely for the cube to bounce when it hits, and then it will bounce off the button, and that's not very helpful. Here, resist the urge to jump over buttons if you usually do that. We're going to go right up under the sign, rotate it, and cover both buttons. If you grab it early, it's possible that it'll be too small to reach the other button, so take your time and make sure that it's the full size. Now this is a rough way to end Induction. We have to do one single grab. So I'll place it up at the ceiling and I push it as it falls into my body. So I aimed for that little sliver in the wall there, the little gap. But feel free to rotate the cheese if you think that helps. The most important part is timing, that you walk into it as it's still falling, but while it's somewhat in the middle of your player's body. So now we're out of Induction, we can go on to Optical, which, you know, as levels go in Superliminal, the beginning's pretty easy. It's just walking through these office hallways. If you manage to fail this challenge, maybe this isn't for you. Okay, here we're going to look really close at that sign, turn it sideways so that it's a big wide ramp. And what I do is I wait for the shadow to appear on the top so that I know it's sticking over this top of the wall here. That way I can jump up on it and just simply slide off, so I don't have to use another jump. Then using a long jump by holding spacebar, you can usually ledge grab up there pretty easily. Here, if you don't want to do this glitchlessly, watch the world record that I've linked in the description. It uses a technique of getting to the end of a challenge and resetting checkpoints so the game forgets what challenge you're on, and you can actually perform this the normal glitchless route or some other way you want to do. I'm going to be doing it the intended way. So we just place this block up here and forget about it. I aim for just about this spot on the wall on the edge of the carpet, and I will place the table. Turn around and get the cube. And I usually like to stand, close to this doorway, not quite inside, and make sure that this stair cube is placed such that it's right up against this wall. And it'll usually be big enough for me to go up to it and jump through it. Gotta be careful with my jumps here. And if you turn around and grab this too quickly before the challenge markers have left the screen, sometimes it'll tell you to reset checkpoint because you used too many grabs. But as long as you made it through the barrier, then you should be good. It's just a little annoying because it's some reminder text that won't go away until you either reset checkpoint or until you reach the next challenge. Here we can relax, use our normal method of just pivoting on that cube. I'm actually going to skip ahead past the walking here. And like Induction, this is kind of a risky way to end a level. But we're going to grab the moon and place it on the wall, rotating it so that the door is close to us. Then we grab the door, and this one takes some muscle memory and practice, but you have to place it far enough that you'll fit inside the door, but also you don't want it to be too big so that you can walk through the hallway really fast. This time I did it pretty well, but if you're new to the run, err on the side of caution. I'm going to skip forward again. Here we're going to do the normal glitchless strategy of jumping on this pole. Make sure that you stand on it for long enough for your jump to recharge so you don't accidentally walk off and have to reset so early in the level. Rotating that cube is unnecessary, but I'm just used to the timing, so that's why I do it. It's possible that the ledge grabs will be unforgiving at that section, which is unfortunate, but that's how it goes. Here we'll just jump on the right cube. And we'll jump up the stairs because it's a little bit faster, and go through this room as usual. I think a lot of different people have strategies here that are, they're different. I like to look down at this first side and kind of grab it on the bottom half, and then look up so that it's actually turning into a reverse ramp. Then I kind of carefully place it so that the top is inside this ledge here, and pray that it lands as a ramp. Usually it works, sometimes it doesn't. Here you just got to place it at the base of this ledge and hope the cube doesn't fall apart on you. Thankfully the ledge grab is a little nicer there. But yeah, that was close. Don't forget you can't jump here, just turn around really fast. And that's the end of Cubism. As I mentioned earlier, the enemy of Cubism is ledge grabs that don't necessarily work. Sometimes you'll just kind of bounce off of ledge, or you just won't get the ledge grab animation in general, which is unfortunate, but again, it happens, and you just have to find what's consistent for you. I'm going to skip to the beginning of the challenge in Blackout. Now, unfortunately, there's only one challenge in Blackout, which means if you mess up at all, you got to go back to the start of the level. So let's be really careful about our jumps and clicks, and I will be showing you the way I do it. So I've looked up a tutorial for this before, and it actually uses 2 jumps at the start here, but you can walk through the canisters on the right side. So you only use 1 jump, and you've got 6 more to go. That being said, it is possible to do this in 6 jumps instead of 7, but I use all 7 just because I like it better. If you haven't ever gone the normal way for that bridge, you just go to the left and it's a full path, so you don't have to jump at all. You have to resist the urge to jump on stairs. I know it's faster, but we can't afford that, unfortunately. The main focus is keeping tight lines, staying close to corners, and just having good movement in overall. Here, we're going to go for the light. Blind maze is technically possible in challenge mode, but it's just not worth it. So grab the light, doesn't have to be super big. You can't actually resize it because we only have one grab. So I aim for this box here. Let's see here. So I aim for this box to jump up, and I use 3 jumps here. 1, 2, and 3. If you are missing a jump or you know you'll need one later, you can actually jump up to the right here on this lower box and then do kind of a diagonal sideways jump to get up to the top in only 2. So it is possible, but again, this is the way I prefer to do it. But we preferably have at least 3 jumps going into the end here. So we're going to go the intended way on the left. There's just 3 block steps. If you accidentally use too many jumps and you know how to do it, there is an edge launch that you can trigger at the end of Blackout there on those block steps, where if you walk into the geometry just right, it will just launch you up, and you won't have to worry about jumping anymore. I went around the generator. If you jump over the generator, like I said earlier, you've passed through the challenge barrier, so it's perfectly valid. But because the animation hasn't finished, it will tell you to reset checkpoint because you used too many jumps. I just went to the side because I don't like that text. I'm going to skip through. It's just clone, we all know how that goes. So here we only get 3 clicks, 2 jumps, pretty straightforward. Make sure you're holding spacebar so that you get all the way to the top and you get that ledge grab. Here I'm going to use my glitchless strategy for the clock room, except I have to take care to not jump over the table. So I place the clock up towards the door, and if you have a different lineup so that you get the clock the right size, use that. Just as long as you can get through without using more than the 2 jumps, you're good. Here I take my time with this apple, just making sure I get it in 1 click. And then this part, again, is pretty straightforward. We have to remember it's not a spamming game, it's a perspective game. Jumping over that fountain, again, it's possible to jump over it by accident too early. So if you don't like that text, just be careful there. Two jumps. Hold spacebar to get that higher jump. And if you're not at 60 FPS, I highly recommend it. It will help you jump a little bit higher, a little bit further. And if you don't know how to do that, you can't actually do it within the game. You have to either use like an NVIDIA control center or use like a monitor to cap your frames. However you choose to do it, 60 frames per second is best. If you go higher than that, then you'll actually jump a little bit lower, which will make a lot of these strategies more inconsistent. Dollhouse begins as usual. And here we got to be really careful about our sizing here. Okay, so I turned straight around, so I have the full room to work with. And like the end of Optical, we just want to make sure that it's big enough that we can fit inside. You don't want to squeeze in this door, otherwise you won't fit coming out. but you also don't want to be too small within the house. Here, since I'm in the center of the room, I got plenty of space to work with. I step just outside the door, and I line up this horizontal bar with the wall trimming in the back. I showed this in my glitchless tutorial. This is a really consistent lineup so that when you go into the dollhouse, you don't have to use these steps at all. We can go straight to the white table, aim straight at the door, and use one jump to get up there. I forgot the radio for radio skip. It's unfortunate, but I was on a roll, so sometimes you gotta make sacrifices. Anyway, I'll skip to the fan. So here you don't want to grab it early because you only have one grab. You're going to walk most of the way up to it, hold it to the back, and rotate it towards the Jenga tower. Then as you're backing up, it will get bigger, and the door will fall towards you. I went a little too far back, but that's okay. Again, you have to worry about grabbing that window too early or you'll get that reminder text. But resizing it shouldn't be too hard. I have another lineup for the window if you want to use that in my glitchless tutorial. And for this bouncy castle, we're going to use a pretty reliable strategy that works in glitchless as well as in challenge mode. It's perfectly valid in both. We just walk up to it as close as we can, grab towards that seam, and drag it straight up. Now you want your mouse to go straight up without going to the side at all. Otherwise, you have a chance of the bouncy castle getting caught on the dive board, and then you won't fit in. Back up a little bit to make it a tiny bit smaller and place it closer to the door. Now, be careful when you're placing it close to the door. You don't want to be too perfect because we don't have any more grabs left. And if this is too close and we aren't able to reach through this door, then that's kind of an unfortunate way to kill a run. Here, if you accidentally turn around too fast, just turn around again. And we'll use our glitchless strategy of walking through this keyhole. Now, there's a faster way to do this that I've linked, where you can place the house so that you'll fit in the door much faster. If you fail, if you forget or you fall down, just walk so that you're lined up with this pawn here. Look towards the little dollhouse and you place it on the end of the table. By doing so, that is kind of the perfect size for the player to fit right inside. So it's a little slower than the method that I have linked, but it is also pretty consistent, so don't worry if you fall down and mess it up. For Labyrinth, I'm not going to go through audio skips. I'm assuming you either already know it, or if you really want to see it, I've got it in my glitchless tutorial. I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the challenge. So here we grab this. Avoid jumping over the little corner because we don't have that many jumps. Use the life buoy as we do in the old glitchless strategy. And as long as you make your ledge grabs, you're fine. Avoid the urge to grab that queen there and simply place this knight on the button. And then that's really the end of Labyrinth. It's pretty simple. It's mostly just movement again, just like Blackout, except you don't have to worry about doing the whole thing in one go. So again, I'm going to skip ahead, go to Whitespace. So Whitespace, I use a glitch in order to skip a lot of the walking. It actually also messes up the chessboard challenge. So while this technically isn't fully dev intended, this is a much faster way to finish Whitespace because walking is no fun. I accidentally clicked this too early. So let me back up here. We're going to start as glitchless, kind of drop on this light so it falls faster. And you want to grab it a little bit closer so that it's bigger to start. I grabbed it too early, so I just backed up to the back of the room so I'll fit inside this door. We're going to go ahead and trigger the paradox. Wait the 30 seconds or so. And as soon as we go through the ends challenge trigger, we're going to restart level. So I know this is technically a restart level run. I never restart checkpoint though. Now we have as many clicks to do as we want because we've already completed the challenge. And instead of triggering paradox, what we do is we grab the clinic through this little seam, and I like to place it so that it's kind of within the bounds of the circle of the dream soda. Resize it, and if you jump and place it with good timing, it will go through the ceiling. So you've now placed this building outside of itself. We're going to walk and grab the clinic as we're walking out, and we are now towards the ends right before the chess piece. So if you drop it, then it'll get really small. We're going to stand near the door, so right behind me is the door for the chessboard. We've made the clinic tiny, and now when we place it inside this open door, then we go back to normal size. So as you can see, it says that I only have one challenge completed. That would be the paradox challenge, but this is already shown as completed. If you really want to do it right, you can place a chess piece on each corner so that you do it in 3 grabs and no jumps. But since I already have this technically completed, I can do this however I want, and I choose to do 1 piece chess. But we've skipped about 3 minutes of walking. So here we can't do the cheese skip, unfortunately. So make sure you place this block inside the door before you trigger the challenge, otherwise we won't be able to complete the challenge. Walk through, go up to the cheese, make it a little bit bigger, put it through, grab it again, and just be really careful because this is the last challenge. And that's the end of the run. So my auto splitter was a little messed up. Sometimes messing with the restart level and doing that glitch will cause my splits to mess up. So just make sure that you've got the right number of splits and that you'll be fine. But the end of the run happens at the end of Whitespace. So as soon as it fades to black, that's the end, which means there's no retrospect and the normal auto splitter does not work. So if you're looking on doing this run, if you're looking on using live split because you have to have a timer to submit, then go to my subsplits tutorial that I've posted pretty recently. I guess it's February now, early February of 2022. So check out my subsplits video. I go over how to set up your layout so it uses subsplits, how to download the custom auto splitter, and where to download the names. Once you do that, then you'll be able to use live split for challenge mode. And I wish you all the best. If you have any more questions about this run, feel free to ask in the comments or in the Superliminal Speedrunning Discord, which I've linked below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.